I was on a Zoom call last week, and I said, just trying to promote the show. And I said, hey, if you believe in angels, then you might want to check in because I've got one coming in live from Moldova. And the question I was asked was, where's Moldova? So firstly, we'll do a introduction to the angel and a geography lesson later. So please welcome living angel Chris Lomas to the show. Thank you for your time, Chris. Unbelievable. Welcome.
Thank you. How can I follow that? I can only disappoint people now, but it's great to be here, Rich. Thank you for the opportunity.
Well, that was very, very humble of you, Chris. We'll touch on geography later, but we met through Koi Sports. And do you want to touch on that? Because that's a big shout out to them, Chris.
Yeah, I was introduced to, we didn't actually realize how. Dave and I were having this conversation. How did this happen? And we figured out that it was a lady called Odessa introduced me to Koi Sports. And, it's almost one of those situations where you say the rest is history. So Koi Sports are this collective of companies who care about grassroots sports. And I was just sucked into this community because they loved what we were doing on the ground. And little did I realize, and this is a great big shout out to Jonathan and Dave, who just got behind what we're doing. And for me, they're the real heroes. I'm just the one that gets to express the love and gets to see how people respond to the generosity and the support of people like Dave and Jonathan and all of this Koi Sports community. So I'll be forever in their debt.
Dave Johnson Rayner, Jonathan Woodcock, and too many to mention have supported Chris and many grassroots sports and to improve the social experience for the strength of a nation, which is in its youth. Now, if you don't mind, Chris, lead us through this little bit of a geography lesson for my crew I was on that Zoom with. Let's have a look at what the European picture looks like in terms of, we are going to that Eastern European side. So if we can map it out on there with a projection of a European map, and then we'll break it down and go to exactly where you are, which is Moldova, Chris. So where are you there right now?
So we are in the northeast of the country of Moldova. It's funny because there's a board game called Where is Moldova? We own it because most people don't know where Moldova is. And the reality is everyone knows where Moldova is. Now, just to give this some context, Moldova is wrapped around on three sides, as you can see, by Ukraine. That puts us in the middle of the action. Along the east of the coast there, along the river line, is a disputed region called Transnistria. Now, Transnistria is unrecognized. It's incredible, actually, to see it on a map because it's unrecognized by any country in the world. It's pro-Russian and a little bit like the disputed regions on the east of Ukraine. It's a volatile place. And the truth is, everyone in Moldova realizes that Ukrainian fighters are not only fighting to protect Ukraine, but they're fighting to protect Moldova because there is no question, there's no doubt in anyone's mind that if Ukraine falls, Moldova will be next, fueled by Transnistria. Now, there's Russian troops on the ground in Transnistria, and because it's unrecognized, that means there are Russian troops on the ground in Moldova. And if Ukraine falls, they will turn their attention to Chisinau, and we'll be in a whole heap of trouble.
Now, you've gone out to Moldova under a mission, and then they've thrown a war zone pretty much next door to you, which could override into the country. Everybody wants to know, you're English, right, mate? So there you are, back home. You've got involved in various things. I know we can touch on Reach My Street and Hope. But how did you get from the comfort of maybe your armchair, with all due respect, Chris, and your good lady Zoe, who is camera shy and is an absolute rock? What can you fill in that gaps
Yeah.
from you armchair to Moldova, mate?
So we, my wife's, she's the good-looking one. So I apologize to everyone watching this. You get me. Now I can create sympathy in minutes. She creates empathy the second she opens her voice. So we're working on her because I'd like her to be in front of the camera more. But she's a school teacher, so she teaches French and Spanish. She knows about 5 languages. And I know 2. That's my little dad joke over here. I know English and American. But I was running a managed print business. We'd also started a charity called Reach My Street, which was feeding impoverished families on the streets across the area that we live in, which is Haven. And we're also church pastors, so we were taking care of people's physical needs, their spiritual needs. And Zoe grew up in Iași, which is just across the border. And she read in the Romanian news that 74 mums during COVID, during lockdown, checked into a maternity hospital, gave birth, and because of abject poverty, left without their children. Now, I only knew about this when I came down and found her sobbing. And I asked her why, and she said, well, let me read this. And she translated it into English. And I got to say, I broke down. Now, Zoe had been coming to Moldova on a few occasions, and we were connected with some work over here. But she approached me 4 years ago and said, I'd love to relocate to Moldova. And I said, no way. But when I read this news, it really touched me. And I said to her, look, if we can sell the business in the middle of a lockdown, our costs were increasing, our income was plummeting. But I said, if we can get rid of the business, then let's go. And we got rid of the business within 3 months. And then we left. I mean, we came over here on the 17th of February, 2021. So we've been here for 13 months. And we hit the ground running. But it was clear that Reach My Street didn't quite translate into international language, as it were. And so we became Hope For. And we were thinking initially it would be Hope for Moldova. But we realized that Hope For is bigger than us. It's bigger than just Moldova. It's bigger than just orphans and victims of trafficking. And already Hope For is launched into Poland off the back of this invasion.
Orphans, trafficking, Moldova. Am I correct? Poorest country in Europe, right?
So it's not only the poorest country in Europe, it is also, get this, it is also the human trafficking capital of the world per capita. Now, it's estimated that 10% of the country have been trafficked, which is driven from poverty, have been trafficked at some point in their life. Can you imagine if that was a UK or a US statistic, there would be a worldwide outcry.
Right.
But because it's Moldova and where is Moldova, it's a forgotten statistic. 10% of the country. And it's not like the TV, it's not like Liam Neeson, and Taken. People are deceived. They're deceived because of poverty. People offer them jobs. They're all carrying a Romanian passport. And they're just deceived across borders. Their passports are taken. The women are beaten and subjected to sexual exploitation. The boys or the men are submitted to forced labor. It's a major issue over here. And furthermore, since we've been here, and our main focus, our only focus up until the conflict was orphans and families trapped in poverty and trafficking. But in that time, we're supporting now 450 orphans, 60 children's homes, 2 orphan crisis centers, a center for the physically and mentally disabled, as well as 40 families trapped in poverty. In addition, we're now sponsoring, because of Koi Sports, 4 grassroots teams who go into local communities to use football, because obviously we all know that football it's an international language. If you've got a ball and some players, it doesn't matter what language you speak, you just start playing football. And so as soon as we came across these guys, we just wanted to support them. And in relationship with I got goosebumps, in relationship with Dave and Jonathan and Koi Sports, we just said, guys, look, let's just support what you're doing and reach these communities.
You called me last week as well, and you had a soccer tournament going, but I know it's not like what anybody's perception is, Chris, of, soccer tournament, you got flags and you got referees. It was just there, wasn't it? Turn up, let's go, let's play, let's kick a ball around, let's just just a bit of respite through just through playing soccer. I know there's bigger issues to deal with, and we will, but
exactly
what you've said is soccer could help a little bit with the kids.
And this was the thing, you know, we'll get on to what's going on and how we've had to pivot, but life goes on. Do you know, it's incredible. People who do nothing have an opinion about everything. I'll say that again. People who do nothing have an opinion about everything. And we've attracted incredible criticism, particularly when you see truckloads of donations coming across. People will contact me all the time and say, well, what about the poor? What about the poor? The reality is we have not stopped doing what we came over to do, and that is to support orphans and poor families and victims of trafficking. We haven't stopped that stuff. You know, just a couple of weeks ago, we heard of a family of 5, 3 boys, 4 boys, I think. I'm looking at my wife. Their dad died, and this will sound so local, but he got kicked in the head by a cow and died instantly. That family now is in desperation. They're across the border in Moldova, in Romania. So what do? We just dispatched someone with food, with support, with clothing, with everything this family is going to need to survive the reality of their lives right now. We don't stop doing what we're doing. Sorry, I'm getting passionate. We don't stop what we're doing. We're continuing to support poor families, poor people, transforming a nation. So for all these people that have an opinion that say, oh, what about the poor? Yeah, we're still doing that stuff. And if you care about that so much, stand with us and support us at hopefor.love/donate.
Can we get a logo up there right now, just so we can see that up there as a picture for Hope for Love? There you go. You can go on to that, because a couple of things come to mind. Somebody's going to say to me, well, Chris has sat there in a nice shirt and a jacket, right? I'm going to say, why is that, Chris? Because I know you get your hands dirty and you've got to look smart for the government officials you deal with, right, mate?
We support so many, and we have influence at governmental level.
Right.
The reality is, before I came on, I was doing this because I'm lifting boxes, but I like to make an effort. I like to because I'm engaging with government officials. Last week it was the mayor of Chisinau. Today we were at a region called Kośnica, and I was meeting the mayor there. You've got to give these people their due respect and dress in a manner. Plus, I'm a businessman. This is my uniform. You know, we wouldn't question someone who's in an army outfit and saying, well, "Why are you in an army outfit?" This is my uniform. This is how I fight battles. And so, you know, we're just raising money, just supporting people, getting down and dirty. I've soiled it. By the way, I came over with this outfit. We don't pay ourselves a single penny. We don't have a salary. Every penny that these guys raise, Rich, is spent on these guys. It's spent on making a difference to people's lives.
I know on a Zoom when we first got introduced with Dave and John on the Koi Sports CIC support as a group got together. I think you had that shirt on, mate.
Yeah,
I think you had that shirt on. I'm sure you did.
I've got the most sustainable wardrobe ever because everything's being recycled right now.
You know, Chris, people will ask me. People ask all the time, "Hey, I want to make a donation." I get it. How? Obviously, they're going to make a donation to you. They want to get involved. What does it look like if I wanted to donate to Hope for Love and what you are doing? Can you give me confidence and our viewers and followers on how that, whatever gets driven to you, donations, food, socks, underwear, whatever it is, mate, how does it get to you, mate?
So put it this way, we've had a lot of donations get delivered to the house. And I don't have to say this stuff to prove a point. No. This is just the way I am. So if someone donates a pair of socks, and someone actually asked us, they're in the house currently, they don't speak English, which means I can say this because they're helping us to sort out the massive donation that came in today. They said to us, oh, I really like these child's gloves. Can I have them for my daughter? And we got really unpopular because we said, no, these are for refugees. You cannot. Maybe when someone sends some stuff and it doesn't matter where it's going, we can involve you some way. But no, this is for refugees. And there's bits in there that I would like with my aging wardrobe, but our commitment is every item, every penny gets spent on refugees. Why? Because I'm the one that gets to see the response when we provide them with support. So, for example, last week at a refugee center, they said, "Hey, we need cases." Because people are just grabbing what they can and running out of their house. And even if they did leave with a case, they've just walked 20 kilometers, 40 kilometers, and their case is completely destroyed. Can you send cases? So we called our friend Janet Josiah in the UK, who runs our UK operation. So she runs Hope 4 in the UK. And we had about 200 cases donated. Brilliant. And everyone was filling those cases with clothing. So over the next few days, we get to deliver all those cases. And you should see it, Rich. When we turn up at these refugee centers with cases, they're lining up because that's how desperate these people are. That's why I don't keep a penny. That's why I don't keep any items, because I get to see the response.
Priceless, right, Chris?
100%.
So coming from the foundation of getting there, building up the orphan homes, how does it all work together? Because you've said it's a battle, it's a war zone in a war zone, Chris, for you. You've got the battle of the refugees coming in, you want to serve them. You've got the orphan homes. How do you manage all that? Have you got a crew of people that you maybe want to mention? Is there any helpers? And because it's expanded drastically from your small crusade to a caring army.
Yeah, so there's 5 of us directly involved. Sergey, who's ex-Spetsnaz, who's like a bodyguard, so he's just hanging around, just doing whatever we want him to do. Obviously, Zoe and myself, but then we have 2 regional directors who both have just spent their lives helping people. And so it's a small team, and then we deploy an army and a network of helpers, and because of this conflict, Rich, we're getting messages every single day saying, "I'm on standby," or you have to say, people we don't even know, "I'm on standby," or you have to say is, "Come and we'll be on a plane." And so this has got people's this is pulling at people's heartstrings. This is lit something. It's lit a fire in people's lives that they just saying, look, if you're the example, and you and your wife can do this without any salary, without anything to gain, we're not after anything, we're just out to give stuff, then people are beginning to line up, and that just encourages us no end.
So you've got some volunteers coming forward as well to say, not globally. I think I was going to get on a plane or something, but you said no.
Yeah.
So I mean,
I didn't quite say that, Rich. You're welcome anytime. And in fact, Dave is going to lead a group of people when the flights and the airspace opens up. Dave's going to come in and just come and help us on the ground as well.
That's brilliant. I know over here, very good friend of mine. I want to give him a shout. It's S.A. Bahamas, who has just been inducted into the Hall of Fame, US Soccer. He's a referee for FIFA, all the good stuff. He's put out, it is predominantly for the UK, Ukraine, but it all helps. Just go out there, referee a game, put your fees in, make a donation. People are reacting around the world because I don't think if you're there, you really know it. How do you feel, Chris? I know you get the satisfaction of what you're doing, but are you looking over your shoulder? What's next? How do you feel, Chris?
Well, there's a couple of things that need addressing in that question. First and foremost is we're opposing some of the most dangerous people in the world. The human trafficking industry, if you can call it that, is worth $150 billion per year. That's a lot of money. Oh. We've already closed 1 trafficker down since we've been here. And these are not nice people. In fact, we've already had our lives threatened after we ousted him. People were coming to us and saying he's a gun smuggler. You need to get out of Dodge. You need to leave Moldova. And we were just saying, look, we're not going to go. And then obviously the invasion. And I was sharing with Jonathan and Dave, I think the day after, Dave, wasn't it, that we were sat at breakfast on the morning of the 24th, listening to bombs just over the border, 12 miles over the border. And it was rattling our
12 miles. I want to say
12
12
miles.
next
12 miles.
12
miles next to us, and it was rattling the windows. It was like loud thunder outside. So when that happened, the phone was ringing, people, families saying, you know, are you going to come home? And my children, Tegan and Max, who are the big heroes for me, by the way, because if they said no, life would be difficult. But they called me up and said, Daddy, are you? They're both in university. Tegan's becoming a paramedic. My son is studying finance and accounting, and they both said, are you going to come home? And I just said, would you be proud if I did? And they said no. And so we've said, and I wouldn't necessarily want them to hear this, but you know, we've said we would rather die here doing this than drink coffee and comfort in the UK, because this is our calling. You know, the trafficking, it is a double thing. You know, yes, there's a threat of conflict, and in fact, we were close to the Transnistrian border today, and we were passing checkpoints. There's a bridge that connects where we were going, and that bridge is manned by by Russian, Transnistrian, and Moldovan troops. They all get along. But because it's such a strategic bridge,
right,
and it's in Moldova, it's manned by the three, because if that bridge went down, that disconnects Ukraine from Moldova. And so you're constantly aware of this. And we've gone over into Transnistria to do some business stuff to teach young entrepreneurs some innovation lessons. And but it's a constant there. And then the threat of trafficking, and this is the other thing I want to mention, Rich. Trafficking now is out of control over here. I struggle to compose myself when I share this, but 81% of the people crossing over the border right now are women and children. This is well documented, and the only men coming across are typically from ethnic minority groups that aren't naturally enlisted into the army. Right. And the problem is the Dunkirk-esque response from the Moldovan people, whilst on one hand is magnanimous in that they're heading down to the border, slinging their car door open and saying, hey, I'll take you to safety. Sounds great, doesn't it? Until you add traffickers into the mix.
Oh,
and they're also going down, flinging their door open, saying, I give you a better life. You know, everything's going to be fine. I'm going to keep you safe. They close the door and they're never seen again. And even when we do get people into secure camps, there was a story last week a couple of weeks ago of a camp that we're supporting, where a man identifying as a church pastor from Romania approached the camp. He had food, he had blankets, he had toys for the children. And he said, look, I want to help. I want to take some women to Romania, to our church, and we're just going to look after them. And because people aren't experienced, I was a founding member of Slave Free Alliance for Hope for Justice. Because people aren't experienced and they don't know how to spot the signs, they let 10 women and their children go. And they were trafficked. They'll never be seen again. And so we're working with the UK government. We want to try and identify where they went. We want to try and do something to retrieve these precious women. But I'm now involved with the UN. The UN have asked me to help head up a task force to address human trafficking. And I was on a conference call with them yesterday, and there's something like 750 unaccompanied children come across the border. They can't account for them. They can't account for them, Rich. And you know, I just want to deal with this. You know, I just want to get the protections in place. We know what we've got to do. We've just recruited a guy who was ex-internal affairs for the Moldovan government, and we're going to start training the police force. We're going to get literature at the border. We're going to get literature at the refugee camps, and we want to put a stop to this. But we can't do this without support. And this is, you know, if people don't care about refugees and they care about trafficking, great. Just stand with us then. Just head over to hopefor.love/donate Ukraine. Together we make a difference. I mentioned to someone this morning, imagine being a soldier and being given a rifle but no bullets.
Yeah.
You know, that's what it's like. I need bullets, and I need something to shoot at these traffickers because I want to take their head off. I make no apology for saying that. I don't value my life. I value other people's lives. I want to take their head off. I want to end this practice. I want to limit the chances of people being trafficked, and I want to go and rescue people. That's what we want to do, in addition to supporting thousands of refugees.
I feel like I'm on a news broadcast. I hope this opens up to whoever follows or watches Sporting Denver. I've got a little bit of comprehension on what goes off and what you do, Chris, but not that in depth. And for those vampires that are operating, you've got a war inside a war. I've mentioned that earlier, Chris. And your passion of what you've just said and your reference to a little bit of physicality there, a little bit of call it what you will. I completely understand that statement you've just made, my friend. And I hope, no pun intended, hope that you get support globally. And it goes beyond Moldova, all this trafficking as well, Chris. And United Nations have come in. So how can you what are you looking to do to expand, making awareness? I think you already have.
Yeah.
But go on.
So it's about a lot of it is about education. So there's two things going on for us at the moment. One is we're literally financing the camps and the facilities that are looking after refugees. We're paying for their food. We're paying for their heating. We're bringing loads of donations in internationally. Sarah Mercer in Dubai has got a load of stuff. We just need someone that's going to stand with her to bring it over. She's another Koi Sports member. But then there's the trafficking. So we've raised almost £100,000 in the last 4 weeks, for which we're entirely grateful. Wow. And a lot of that has been derived because of the involvement of an influencer called Leah Turner on LinkedIn, as well as the Koi Sports community. But that enables us to do one aspect, but the other aspect, the anti-trafficking, that's going to take resources, that's going to take finance. And yes, we're applying for grants, and yes, we're applying for support, but that takes a bit of time. What the people watching this can do is immediately get involved, because as soon as we receive £1, we convert it and we translated it into tangible aid. Now I need to go after these traffickers. Now I need to take their heads off, and I want people to stand with me. If there's any fathers listening to this, what if it was your wife? What if it's your daughter? I've said this before. There are men fighting for the Ukraine. There are men fighting in reality for Moldova and for Georgia and other countries that might be next. The least they can expect from people like me is that I'll look after their wife and children. That's where my passion comes from. I just want people to stand with us.
I'm not going to refer back to the movie, but I think everybody knows the reference to the actor who has a special set of skills that he utilizes accordingly. Well, Chris, you have a special set of skills that you are utilizing accordingly. Angry, passionate, devoted. You are a living angel, along with Zoe, and the support you have from your two boys, and the support you have around you in Moldova, the support you have from Sporting Denver, Koi Sports, the UK. We can do more. This is my message. We should do more. We can do more. Get on to Hope. Can we buzz that up there again? Just as a link in there. Go and check him out. Chris is your guy. You're always available, Chris. I know you're 24/7. The time zones are different, but this is our guy in Moldova, on the borders of Ukraine, in a war, inside a war that we've been more than educated on. We must help. And from that foundation, Chris, we can go on from there and fight everywhere, correct?
100%. See, people in Denver, people in Florida, people on the East Coast, the West Coast, they can get involved. This isn't a solo mission. I can't do this without you. I can't. I can do nothing without bullets. Give me the bullets, I'll fire them, and we'll change people's lives together.
Chris, I'm not. I know the time zone. I know you've been out there you need a little bit of rest. You need to give Zoe a hug. Give Zoe a hug and a big hi to your boys and everybody out there. Big love from Sporting Denver. I normally do a quick fire 5 questions, and I'm going to do 2, but leave you with 3 to bring up yourself. So I do have to ask you on the quick fire 5 questions, Chris. I've got to go back to soccer. A little bit of enlightenment. What football team, soccer team do you support, mate?
I was born in Coventry, and so I used to take the milk crates to the matches and stand in the terraces watching the likes of Ian Wallace. And anyone knows Ian Wallace, he had hair this big, ginger hair, and back in those days. But also every Coventry City fan remembers 1987 when we won the FA Cup against Spurs. And that goes down in history. I've kind of lost touch with Coventry a little bit. My son Max, he follows Chelsea, so I'm an honorary Chelsea fan as well.
Honorary Chelsea, and you're a sky blue Coventry.
Exactly, always sky blue.
Second question: football, soccer in Moldova before. Did you follow anything in there, either the national team or the league or anything along those lines? And what impacted you just in the game of soccer in Moldova? Because it's a beautiful game.
What's impacted me is and this is what makes soccer so international. You can, and we all know the stories. You can go to the ghettos in Brazil or the Premiership clubs and see kids in the stands. This is a universal game that kids grow up loving, and they follow their big stars. I don't know any of the national team. I've got a feeling I'm going to soon, but I don't know the national team. But what I do know is there's young men and women who've got their coaching badge, who've said, I'm going to do something good. They go into these communities. They do this all year round, by the way, and it gets to minus 30 here. We've just endured our first winter. Today it got to 20. Last week it was minus 6. Today it got to 20. But these guys are, and I've met most of them. They're out there in all weathers. And now, because of 4 Koi Sports members, we have sponsored, or they have sponsored 4 teams. And what that means is it makes football accessible to the poorest of communities.
Take one of those footballs. This is just a suggestion. Take one of those footballs, Chris, and just throw it onto the bridge and see if we can get a try tournament between the Russians, the Ukrainians, and the Moldovans. I'm going back to Christmas Day. Hey, exactly. Who knows? There's an image. Maybe they just want to lay down their arms and just go home.
I don't want to get too political, but I just got a feeling that there are Russian troops that just don't believe in this, and would just rather grab a ball and go and put their arms around a Ukrainian soldier and say, let's go and play football.
Over here, son, on my head. Right. 3. I've got 3 questions left, but I'm going to let you sort of answer them separately. It's just one hit. What 3 things can we do, Chris, to help your cause? And I'm going to check out of the studio. If you could leave us with a final message. Give us 3 things, Chris, that we around the world can actually do to help you. God bless you, my friend.
Thank you, my friend. So very simply, thank you so much to everyone being involved in this. The 3 things are money, 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 honey, because I can buy food, I can buy heating, and I can pay for fuel and get people into safe places and make sure they're comfortable, make sure they're happy whilst they wait for their husbands. Thank you all so much. Please head over to hope4.love/donate Ukraine. That is /donate Ukraine. Rich, thank you so much. Dave, Jonathan, everyone. We love you. We appreciate you all. Thank you.